and welcome. On today's show, we are going to talk about the different resort categories at Disney World. Hello, I'm Lauren Williams, and welcome to the show today. This is Magical Travel Adventure. I am Lauren, and I am a travel agent. I am here to help provide you some information to help make your next Disney World trip as magical as possible. If you would like to use me as a travel agent, my services are free and all my information is below. I also, if you like these videos, ask you to subscribe and hit that bell button so you can get notified about our different shows. So today we are going to talk about Disney World and the different resort categories. A lot of times people think of certain resorts and think that that's the only type of resort at Disney World, but they're actually there's something for everyone, let's just say, at Disney World. So, going through the categories, we have value, moderate, deluxe, and deluxe villas, which are Disney Vacation Club, which are a little different. So, regular resort rooms are the value, moderate, and deluxe. The Disney Vacation Club is Disney's timeshare that they have, but they do offer some rooms that you can pay for in cash that you can also get yourself when you are going. You can also additionally rent points through different rent pointing services to go and stay in those rooms. So let's talk about the different categories. We're going to start with value. So there are the resorts that are in the value category are the All-Star Sports, All-Star Music, All-Star Movies, Pop Century, Art of Animation, and the campsites at Fort Wilderness. So as you see, All-Star Music and Art of Animation have stars next to them. These places also offer what are called family suites, which is it's a room that can fit up to 6 people in it. So, and it has more of a kitchenette area. They're a little different between All-Star Music and Art of Animation, but those rooms do cost more. All-Star Music, typically their suites cost less than Art of Animation. And what I will say in the value category is that a lot of these resorts are not treated the same. So the All-Stars seem to be like on their own, and I would say currently in the early 2021, now that all the resorts, you can book all the resorts, All-Star Music and All-Star Sports are still the least expensive rooms on property. All-Star Movies is just a little bit higher, but then Pop Century and Art of Animation are on the Skyliner route, and they seem to have a premium attached to them, meaning it costs more than it used to in the past, and it definitely costs more than any of the All-Star resorts. So Pop Century is the same type of rooms that's at All-Star Movies. The only difference is that it's on the Skyliner room. Art of Animation is like its own category almost. It has the Little Mermaid rooms, which are, 2 queen beds, and it's themed for Little Mermaid. And then the rest of Art of Animation is suites, which are those ones that fit 6 in a room, or 6 in a suite, I should say. And I will say that those rooms run much higher than if you got 2 rooms at Pop Century, 2 rooms at All-Star Sports. It's still going to be more expensive to get those Art of Animation suites. So something for you to be aware of. Now, the campsites at Fort Wilderness are like a whole nother category also, because those are for people who are bringing their own tents. Sometimes it's for people bringing their RVs, or you might be renting an RV and the campsite at the same time. That is a completely different story, a completely different episode. There's a lot of information that you need to know if you're going to do the camping at Fort Wilderness, but that's not what this show is about. So you just need to know in those categories that even though it's a value price, you need to know what you're looking for, and you need to know what it is that you're interested in getting. Now, those rooms are smaller. These are the smallest rooms on property, obviously minus the campsites. but they're a little over 260 square feet. So when a lot of the value rooms, they have one queen bed and then they have like a Murphy bed in them. So when the Murphy bed is pulled down, there's about a foot of space between the two beds, and there's about maybe a foot and a half to 2 feet to the door to go out of the room. So these rooms are small, just so you're aware. They have split bathrooms, which the sink is on the outside, and there's no like door. There's a curtain, but there's no door separating it from the where you're sleeping and where the sink is. There is a door to go, obviously, to the toilet and shower tub combination. There are options also to get, instead of the two queen beds, you could get one king bed. Included in those value resorts, you do get a small refrigerator, although they don't like you to call it a refrigerator because it's not super cold. So they like to call it a cooler, and there is a coffee maker. There also, in the value resorts, they have quick service dining. So there's no table service, but there's typically there is always a quick service dining option or a food court area to buy food. And then there's a main pool, which is normally right by where you would get your food, the shop is, the transportation. And then there is typically one or two quiet pools also on the property. And then there's a splash pad, and the splash pad is typically connected or near the main pool. And what I will say is that these pools are just pools. That's it. Sometimes they're all themed, but there's no water slides here. So you need to be aware of that. Transportation wise, at the value resorts, you're talking about mostly buses, but Pop Century and Art of Animation do have the Skyliner, and the Skyliner will give you access to Hollywood Studios and Epcot. So again, Pop Century and Art of Animation are always going to cost more because they have that access to the Skyliner. Moving on to the moderate resorts. The moderate resorts are one step up of the value. They include Caribbean Beach, Port Orleans Riverside, Port Orleans French Quarter, Coronado Springs, and the cabins at Fort Wilderness. What you need to know here is that these rooms are a little larger. They're about 314 square feet for all the rooms. The cabins are a little different. We'll get to that. But these resorts are typically larger. A lot of them have internal bus stops, and a lot of them are just more spread out, but they give you just a little more space and a little more options at your hotel. So some of the options that you can have the two queen beds or the one king bed. You also get that small fridge, cooler type thing, and coffee maker. Then there is a table service option, except at one of them. And then there's also a quick service. So table service meaning that you can sit down and eat a meal where a server comes to your table and takes your order. And then there's obviously a food court quick service location. And then what I like the most about the moderates is they have these lounges. So you can go, there's lounge options also when you're at your resort. This is just another place to go, another place for adults. Even if one adult went and got you drinks to bring them back to your room if your kids are asleep, it's just a fun place to have. And they all have like just fun vibes, and it's just nice to have back at your resort. They also have main pools, and these pools all have a water slide with them. There is also a quiet pool or multiple quiet pools, depending on how big the resort is, and there are splash pads. Again, with these moderate resorts, transportation is bus or Skyliner. Caribbean Beach is the only one that has the Skyliner access. The rest of these all have only bus access. Port Orleans, Riverside, and French Quarter do sometimes have a boat running to Disney Springs, so that is an option also. What I will say about the buses in the moderate resorts is that they run internally first and then take you to the parks. So if you're like the fourth stop along the way, the bus might be totally filled by the time you get on and you don't get to go on that Magic Kingdom bus. You have to wait for the next bus. So sometimes that spread outness is hard for people to get on a bus to get to a resort. But they are wonderful resorts, and there are different options if you are going to be at a moderate resort that might make it easier if you don't want to be worried about the bus all the time. Now, for Fort Wilderness, the cabins, again, this is on the campground, like we talked about in the value category, but there are physical cabins that are there. They also sleep 6 people. There is it kind of depends, but typically it's a double or queen bed, and then in that same room right next to that bed are 2 bunk beds, and then there is an outside area where there is a full kitchen, well, a mostly full kitchen. There's no oven, but there is a stovetop, and there is a pull-out couch. So these are options, but again, 4 of you are sleeping in one room if you're using those bunk beds, so just something to be aware of. And again, it's internal buses at Fort Wilderness to get to the parks. You do have the option with the boat there also to get to Magic Kingdom, but you'll have to take the bus or drive or take your golf cart to get to where the boat stop is. Moving on to the deluxe resorts. So the deluxe resorts are Animal Kingdom Lodge, Beach Club Resort, Boardwalk Inn, Contemporary Resort, Grand Floridian Resort and Spa, Polynesian Village Resort, Wilderness Lodge, and the Yacht Club. These are the deluxe resorts. They're typically the resorts that you will see when Disney is doing a promotion or when they're trying to highlight resorts. They are using that. The Grand Floridian is the flagship resort, which they show off often in their media. Now, what's included in the deluxe resorts is, again, you could get that 2 queen bed or 1 king bed option. There is club level. Also, in the moderate category, Coronado Springs does also have club level. They do have that small fridge or cooler and coffee maker. Now, the offerings at the resort, a lot of them have what's called signature dining, which is a very heightened experience, like California Grill, which is at the top of the Contemporary that you can see into the Magic Kingdom. And if you're there at the right time, you can be eating dinner and watching the fireworks go off from where you're eating dinner in California Grill. So these types of options are offered at the deluxe resorts. There's also a regular table service option. They have the quick service option or a food court, and they also have a lounge or lounges. They offer a main pool that also has a slide, and then additionally a quiet pool, and then a splash pad also. Now, these options have a little more differences with them. Depending on which resort you're staying at for transportation, you could be on the monorail, you could have bus transportation, you could have boat transportation, or you could have Skyliner access. These are all different options depending on where you're staying. I can't go through each one because that would be like 4 shows. So if you have questions, you could reach out to me and ask which one goes to what. But you just have more options. The biggest thing that I will say about the buses at the deluxe resorts is that you share buses. You are hardly ever just getting on your bus, and like one of the biggest ones is Polynesian and Grand Floridian share a bus. Beach and Yacht Club share a bus. So you need to know that, as opposed to other resorts which might have a dedicated bus for them, where if you go to Pop Century and get on the bus, it's only going to Pop Century. If you get on a Grand Floridian bus, they are most likely also going to the Polynesian, and they might, even before picking you up, be going to these resorts. It's especially important at the end of the night to know this, that you're going to be sharing the bus space, because that's more and more people that are getting on there. So just something for you to know. And people just assume that it's a deluxe resort, so you get your own dedicated bus, but you don't. I think at Yacht Club and Beach Club, it's the most confusing because they have separate lines. And when they go to drop you off, they just let everyone off. And I always get off at Yacht Club for some reason, not remembering that Beach Club is the second. I have to wait until I get to Beach Club. You could still walk over. It's like a 5-minute walk. But still, if it's at the end of the night and you have kids and you're trying to get to bed, you have to kind of pay attention. And they don't always announce it that they're stopping at Yacht Club. And at night, it's very hard to tell. So you just need to be aware of that when you're using the buses. Now let's move on to Disney Vacation Club. So again, like I said in the beginning, Disney Vacation Club is Disney's timeshare business. So these resorts are, some of them are attached to other resorts, some are standalone resorts on their own. You can stay at any of these resorts even if you are not a Disney Vacation Club member. They do offer some of these rooms for you to pay without using points, but using like your credit card and cash. You also can rent points through certain services that rent points so that you can get certain rooms or what you want at Disney Vacation Club. So let's check out what they have. So we have the Bay Lake Tower, Boulder Ridge Villas, the Copper Creek Villas and Cabins. We have Animal Kingdom, Jumbo House, and Kidani. There's Beach Club Villas, Boardwalk Villas. Then Old Key West Resort is a standalone. Polynesian Villas and Bungalows. Riviera Resort, which is a standalone resort. Saratoga Springs Resort and Spa is also a standalone. And then we have Grand Floridian Villas. Now, this is different types of accommodations. These are not the same types of accommodations that you would get as if you were getting a regular room at one of these hotels if they attach to another hotel. There's many room categories, but the most common are studio, which offers, in most cases, one larger bed, either queen or king, and then a pull-out couch so that you can have 4 people in the room. Some of them offer a 5th sleeper. Some of them have like a Murphy bed option instead of a pull-out couch. Some of them just have 2 queen beds in them. It kind of depends on where you're staying, but that's the studio option is that. You get a bathroom and you get a kitchenette, meaning you just get a little more. You get that that mini cooler, you get the microwave, you get the coffee station. So it's just a little more than you would get in a regular resort room for that kitchenette. And then they offer 1, 2, and 3 bedrooms rooms. So when you get a 1, 2, or 3 bedroom room, you get a full kitchen, meaning you get a full stovetop and oven. You get a full refrigerator and freezer. It comes with all the plates, knives, napkins, all that stuff. It is included in the room, so you don't have to bring all that stuff. You have to provide the food that might fill that refrigerator that you might be cooking, but all the essentials are there. They have pots and pans and utensils, things like that. Also, in the 1 bedrooms and up, you have your own dedicated washer and dryer in your room. So you could do laundry every single night if you wanted to, or you could do it every other night, however often you would need to do it, but you could be doing your laundry all the time. So that's one of the perks of staying in those 1 bedroom villas or up. Now, a lot of these also include the signature and table service. Not all of them have a signature dining, but most of them do because they're attached to a deluxe resort. And they have access to that quick service and lounge. So when I'm talking about food, typically the Disney Vacation Club side does not have these food options. You have to walk over to the main hotel rooms. And you also have access to the main pool with the slide, the quiet pool, and the splash pad, and you have all those transportation options. There are too many transportation options. All the options are available for villas. Any type you could think of, that would be offered in villas. Villas also have free parking. It's the only free parking left at Disney World. If you park regularly at a resort, a value, moderate, or deluxe, you have to pay for parking if you have your car there. At the villas, currently, you do not need to pay for parking. So wrapping up, we're going to just talk at all the resorts, they all have a check-in area if you need it. Disney is really pushing people to start checking in online through the app. They really want you to do that. They put that at the top of your My Disney experience, that they're really trying to push that, and they're trying to make their check-in areas much smaller. So they really don't want as many people checking in person. They're really trying to get that online check-in experience done. There is free transportation to the Disney parks and Disney Springs, so you just need to know whatever resort you're at, there's something offered. It might not be what you want. A lot of people don't like the buses, but that's what's free. So if you want to pay for something else, you are free to pay for something else, but the buses, or if you're staying on the Skyliner, or if you have boat access at your resort, you can use those and they are all free for you. All the resorts have pools like we talked about, and they all have shops. They have typically one shop. Some of them, the deluxe resorts might have more than one. And inside they have like merchandise. They have a few food options and some supplies, like if you were sick and you just needed like a little cold medicine, something like that. Like I bought deodorant there, I bought hair ties there, just little things that I left behind that I didn't have, that they had there. They have been known to also sell wine in some of the shops, but you obviously have to show proof of that too. But if there are little things that you forgot, you know, you're still at Disney, they still do offer some option for you to buy something there. They do also have what's called guest services, which can help you if you have any questions while you're there. And also they have luggage services. All of them have luggage services, and I find luggage service one of the most important things. You can go and drop your luggage off at luggage services. Like let's say you get in at 8 a.m. on your flight. Well, your room's probably not ready yet. So you can go to your resort, drop your bags at luggage services, and they will hold them, and then you can go to the parks. Then later in the day, when your hotel room is available, you can go to your hotel room because you've done online check-in, and you will then just call down to luggage services and someone will bring up your luggage. So it's very nice, and it works the same way when you're leaving. If, let's say, you have a really late flight out, you can, in the morning, drop your luggage at luggage services or call them and say, come pick up my luggage, and they'll come and pick it up. And then you go off to the parks. And then at the end of the day, you can come back to the resort, pick up your luggage, and go to the airport. So it all kind of works out. I think luggage services is one of the best options because not all hotels in the world will hold your luggage like that or not hold it for a fee. I do suggest that you tip if you are leaving your bags. So they can also hold groceries there. Just know that sometimes there are fees if you have groceries or packages delivered to your resorts. All right, so that will wrap up our little segment on the different types of resort categories at Disney World. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments and I will try and answer them. And if you would like to use my services, I am a travel agent. They are free. You can look below in the description and reach out to me. And I hope to help plan your magical vacation. Bye!